Tiffany and I are on the same team. We share the same ideas. We're sitting at the same tables and the same conversations, but what works for her people doesn't always work for mine. And so like we kind of pivot and do things our own way as well. So just because you're on a team or just because you're in an office or your friend does it this way or that way, like make it your own, see what works, but make sure you're measuring what's working and what's not. Welcome back to Real Estateable, your go-to podcast for raw, real, and relevant information in the real estate world. Today, we are kicking off the new year and just kind of talking about what we're doing in January to set us apart and to have a first good quarter.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like everyone rolling off of the holidays, it's always like a hangover of all of the busyness of the holiday season. So super hard to get unstuck from that kind of lull. A lot of people are just retracting over the last couple weeks of the year. And I think that we're so excited. Like January for us is just like almost like flinging open the doors wide open and heading out into the 2025 season. And I do think that we have a lot of really great tips today to give you for a great January, catapulting you into the first quarter and really a successful 25.
All right, give it a listen. All right, so 2025 is here. It is the new year, new you, new beginnings, new marketing.
New
business.
New news.
Yes.
Is that copyrighted? I think it is.
No, it is right now.
we are, yep, stamp on it for sure. I think there's so many different things that we do in January. I love January because for us, it's clockwork. We have a couple of things that we do systematically every single year. And I think it's easy things that even though it is the second week of January, technically speaking, you really could still be implementing these. And so for us, our first thing, which is already out in the mail, already gone and implemented, is our New Year's cards.
Yeah.
And we do that instead of holiday cards. So if you did do holiday cards, okay, great. We do this with the little magnet calendars, and instead of personalizing them, we're putting business cards for each of our agents on those. And that's been something we've been doing year after year. I know one year, maybe 5-10 years ago, I took a year off and I was like, oh, this old people use these calendars. And I took a year off and I had a younger couple be like, is that coming? And I'm like scrambling the third week going, yes, of course it's coming. Not really, but I wasn't planning on it. So I think that for us, that's been really good return.
Where are you ordering those from?
So a bunch of different places, and especially if you're ordering them right now, I'm starting to see discounts coming out right now. So Magnets USA has been one of the ones that we've done. We've done
is it Markful?
Markful has them too. Yep. There's a lot of really great sales too. If you're doing them like at halfway through the year, planning for the following year, really great sales for that. But even better sales right now, because of course, what's going to happen with these 25 calendars if they're not sold off the shelf? So really great idea. And our cards, it's definitely a marketing card because I feel like we feel in December, don't really feel like putting any type of soliciting in the mail. It's definitely a holiday card that's going out. This is new year, new resolutions, new house. How can I help you? All about real estate, all about setting you up for goal achieving year. And I don't feel like that is not well received.
Yeah. Yeah. The amount of people who like I've walked in for like a listing appointment who have that on the fridge is surprising, honestly.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
for sure. And I have a referral partner that just sent me one. And it was funny. I was like, without even like subconsciously put it on the side of the fridge. So if I think Alabama real estate, I'm going to think Deb Chilson every single time because I have that, constant reminder. I had a listing appointment I walked into and the little kid was like, is that the famous lady? And whispering to his mom. And she's like, yeah, he talks about how famous you are to be on the side of our fridge. And I was like, yes, 100%.
It's funny. Side note, like my kids' friends think I'm like famous.
Yeah.
Because I have a sign or whatever. Yeah. It's just so funny to me.
A sign, a podcast, you're doing big things. I know we all are famous, guys.
Yeah.
Really, really. So I don't think it's too late for that. I think that could be super simple or in depth as much as you make it. Mm-hmm. We make this a 2-part kind of touch in January. So Calendars is one thing, calendars and cards. But what we found being, and really the calendars and cards are for everybody. But what has been super beneficial to our clients, our past clients, 24 clients, is
Tax letters.
yes, tax letters. It's like the
Ooh, so fun.
anticipation of that. But I use that at the closing table. I talk about that you're going to hear from me in January. Like
Yes.
this isn't the last time you're hearing from me.
Yep.
And what should you expect? So talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that. What does that look like?
So the tax letter is a letter that we send out to all of our clients who have bought or sold with us within that year. So 2024, everyone who has closed with us, they are getting a letter with their Alta from closing, just kind of talking about, hey, you guys are going to need this to file your taxes. Your tax professional is going to need this Alta. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, and that's no matter what. Like not even just people that have taxes owed from a sale. That is just pure. You're not giving tax advice.
Yeah.
You're just saying, hey, this document that you already have a copy of, I'm providing it to you again, right at your hand's reach when it comes to filing taxes. On that. What does that letter look like? Besides just say congratulations again, happy new year. Anything else that's listed in the letter?
I don't even know.
You're like,
I'm like, should I reread this? I mean, I signed it.
It's a trick question. Okay. It's a quiz because there is some more stuff in there. So we're also kind of prompting them to say some of the other documents that you might need to be bringing with you for taxes is your interest statement from your mortgage. It might be home improvements, different things that they might be asking for up front, saying, hey, you can be gathering all of that. But this is the second time we've talked to our clients about this. When we're sitting at the closing table, waiting for funding to happen or waiting for documents to be copied, we're talking about, you're going to hear from us again in January.
Yeah.
Easily.
Kind of just setting the stage of like, hey, when tax season comes, call me.
Yes.
Like, I'm not a tax professional, but just call me.
Yeah. If there's anything that you need, anything that is happening in crazy over the years too, come like January 1st. Or like the New Year's card will go in the mail and people are like, well, wait, where's my tax stuff? Even though they already have a copy, even though they're not waiting on us, but they kind of use that as a placeholder. I feel like, from my experience at least, over the years.
And those letters we usually send out by the 15th of January. So if you haven't done it yet, there's still time. You can still send those out.
One of the ways that we prep over the year too. So like, a lot of stuff that we talk about, it might be where you're like, okay, I'm not implementing right now, but I want to set myself up to be able to have a system for all of this. So our system, just for like the set it and forget it part of this, is not pulling 100 and some. I think we sold close to 160 homes as a team last year. We don't go January 1 when we also are rolling off of a holiday hangover. We're not going, full speed ahead. Every time that we close, that letter is getting printed. Every single time we close, that Alta is getting printed. And that's getting paper filed away so that come January, we're just doing a checks and balances of that, getting that into the mail, making sure we have right addresses, all of that stuff. But 75% of that work is done on every single closeout.
And we've done it both ways. It sucks printing out like your 50 letters for the homes that you've and changing them all out with the addresses and names. So like Tiffany said, just doing it at closing or like around the time of closing, game changer, because now all we have to do is throw a stamp on and put it in the mailbox.
But I think too, regardless of what you're doing with these, this is a really, really great touching point for your clients. So this is a check-in to say, hey, where do we see somewhere someone sending a letter or a video that they were recording, stamping that letter. That was the envelope and saying your tax letter is going out in the mail today. Let me know if you don't receive it in 7 days. So the amount of touches that can happen around you adding value to your clients, it's not like, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or all of those things. They are already done business. You're providing more value after the sale. Easily a way for you to be making a touch with them, for sure.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head with doing the video, because then that's an additional touch. So they're getting your video text message, hey, I'm putting this in the mail. And then the next week they're getting it in the mail. So that's 2 touches in January, easy peasy top of mind for the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think it's a really great way that you're making sure that your systems are updated. So even if you did the prep work for this, and a lot of you guys are going to be like scrambling, going, okay, I need to get these out. Even if you do that prep work, you still need to be making sure some of your sellers move on and they move into transition and you don't have a permanent address. And it's, if you're not keeping up with that, have you linked back around to see, did that Airbnb turn into what happened for their housing need?
Yeah.
And so that's a really, really great way for you to continue to keep that up to date as well. So many pieces of the puzzle. I think that like we've had agents that have moved over to our team and we've said, okay, go gather all of your stuff. And so they, over the last couple of weeks, have been pulling, altas from paper files and digital files and closing companies. So worth the time and the effort to do that. The value you're adding to your clients, I'd say time block it now.
Yeah, just do it.
Get out your calendar and time block it now. So simple and just worth the effort for sure.
Yeah. All right.
I also think, sorry, to wrap around on that too. You're like, oh, it's like so many for 50 y'all, you have 50 closings.
Yeah, that's exciting.
That is a great way to recap an awesome year. If this is a 3-day project, well, congratulations, you crushed 24.
Yeah.
So I think that no matter how much the time on that, totally worth it. Sorry, side point on that. You're like, oh, it's like 50 listings. I'm like, I would be happily writing out all of those cards. So
heck yeah.
All
right. So what else can we do in January to kind of catapult our best year in 2025? What else are you doing?
I feel like the most prepared that we have felt. Don't you feel like everything we did in fourth quarter, everything we've been talking about here together is like, I have a game plan. Like I know what the heck I'm doing in a month by month span. Right now, we're super focused on prospecting. That means, farming neighborhoods. That's a different approach to open houses. That also is our portfolio reviews, doing monthly market analysis for our past closings, but then also just our prospects as well. So what do you think that you're like one of the things you're focused on this month? I know every month kind of varies. What's something you're focusing on?
Are you looking for ways to become more efficient and save time in your day as a real estate agent? We've got the thing for you. We have created 18 done-for-you email templates that cover the entire process on the buying side and the selling side. The best part is that this is only $49 and includes customizable email templates for the process to get you through start to finish with your buyers and sellers. Head over to realestateable.com/email templates, and that's where you can find them.
So focusing on getting the shredded event up and running for my neighborhood. So I'm going to be farming my neighborhood heavily this year. I kind of have I wouldn't say I've farmed my neighborhood, but I feel like this year I'm like, okay, I have a plan. I'm doing these things. They're going to see me more than twice a year kind of thing. So I'll be doing a shredded event, piggybacking off our team event for tax time. So getting those invites out. And then the other thing I'm going to do is create a graphic for my neighborhood. So just kind of posting like a market recap of just my neighborhood. So how many houses have sold, went under contract, average price point, days on market, things like that, that I'm just going to post in our neighborhood page every month.
Yeah, it's a monthly thing for you. It's like you're going from gardening to farming. Like you're
actually
going from a gardener to a farmer. And I think that the tax season shredded event is such a great idea. And I think you can partner with so many different people, sponsors, to be able to make that happen.
Yeah.
We're doing that event for our client base, for anyone who wants to come and drop any important documents off after the tax season. We're putting a save the date in our tax letters as well for that. Save the date for the April timeframe for that. But that's super easy for you to take from a client event in a central location to a farming event. Easily that truck can be moving from one place to the next. So many different ways that you can implement that, but early. Like we've been saying 25 is all about being prepared and making sure that we're implementing those things and really holding ourselves accountable for that. So I definitely see on your game plan, farming being a very consistent, monthly, intentional
Yeah.
type of process.
And my neighborhood's too big to just mail things monthly. So I could easily just be like, oh, I'm doing a postcard campaign, but that's not in my budget. Like, to be honest, I'm not trying to mail to 1,000 homes every month. That cost is crazy. So I'm using social media and events that will be cheaper, honestly, than doing the mailing.
Yeah. Well,
more effective, I think.
I think so too. Getting them in front of you. One of our agents was talking with Quintavious Burdett, who's one of the top agents with Remax, and he's done a ton of door knocking over his very short career, but very successful career.
Yeah.
And when she reached out to him and said, hey, best time, like, where's the best time for you to be door knocking? He came back and said, bring the people to you. Like, stop going to them, bring the people to you. So I easily could say, in a non-soliciting area, you could go and do the work of door by door by door by door, but even more so effectively, the value of bringing them to you. I think you take that budget and make it go so much further.
Yeah.
By having the in-person conversations so easily.
And he talks about that a lot, and he's like one of our first episodes.
Yeah.
So just look up Quintavious Burdett and you'll find an amazing motivational episode that is just
for sure.
crazy.
I think that the biggest thing in all of this stuff is just do it. I think so many times we sit here and we're like, well, this is January. We're already the second week into January.
Yeah.
Like I can't do any.
I've already failed.
I'm already to February, which is raising the hand. That was so us for so many years, and maybe working at 50% of the stuff that we promised to ourselves. But I really feel like when you're looking at this, there's no reason that these really easy things cannot be implemented in an easy time block of your next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So easy for that.
Yeah.
So for prospecting for you for January, it's just intentional action with your farming.
Yes.
Anything else that you're doing?
So I'm going to be doing farming in another neighborhood, which is going to look different than my personal neighborhood. But those, I'm sending out cards. I have a listing that I sold recently over there, and I have another one going active. And so I have some mail marketing, like, your neighbor's house sold, this may have affected your value, or your neighbor's house listed. Just a postcard with a QR code to bring them to my website. So if anybody else is interested in the value of their home or interested in selling, maybe don't know where to start, they can scan my QR code and hopefully register on my website. Then I can email market.
And any of these things, if you're wanting examples or you want to see any of these things, we're happy to share all of that with you.
Yeah, book a one-on-one with us.
Yeah,
we have that on our
easily.
Calendly, a 30-minute session of you can just ask us anything.
Yep, absolutely. I think for me in January, I'm looking at making sure that I am consistently. So I do portfolio reviews. It's not consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I will go in surges where it's like, oh crap, I'm 3 months behind. Push those out. But then my intentional follow-up on that is so much more hurried. So for me in 25, January goes out in January and followed up in January, February.
Yeah.
March.
So we always talk about Ethan, our favorite CRM trainer, and he showed me the digital portfolio
reviews. Yeah.
You're going to want to switch.
Well, for me, I think that my client base though responds to the door drops though.
Yeah.
So it's totally different. I think it's a matter of like, I can digital to my clients all day long and it be like, almost like it's the same thing. If you digital market to me, blind, like I'm blind to it.
Yeah. But I think it's different when you're like, hey, like if I see, oh my gosh, why is Tiffany sending me a link with my address in it? What the heck is this? You know?
Okay, so I'm going to do both then because I'm not changing what's working.
I know. Well, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying like,
well, it's not working when I'm so far behind though. So there's also that part of this.
But here's my nerd hat. It shows you the analytics and how long they looked and all the things. So I was like, when he sent that, I was like, I'm throwing away my paper version. No, I'm still using those for farming.
Honestly, though, you have really great traction for online. Like your newsletter performs really well. Like there's so many things that you do. And that's the beauty of all of this stuff. It's like, what is it that you are getting great response and dive into more of that, like dive into more of those things that you just have not unlocked your potential for.
Yeah.
So many of those things we've done like the pinky toe into attempting to try over the years. And really, again, 25 is is implementing. It's actually getting these things out the door and really tracking them and measuring the results from that stuff too.
Well, I also think like Tiffany and I are on the same team. We share the same ideas. We're sitting at the same tables and the same conversations, but what works for her people doesn't always work for mine. And so like we kind of pivot and do things our own way as well. So just because you're on a team or just because you're in an office or your friend does it this way or that way, like make it your own, see what works, but make sure you're measuring what's working and what's not. We say that all the time. But Tiffany and I do business very similar, but definitely not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the people that we attract too.
Yeah.
We're kind of a yin to a yang. And so that's the same thing with our clients too. I just think that if you are not already consciously having a game plan for success in January now, like end the episode and start to actually time block out January. We're going to try to do this with you guys throughout 2025, where you're like, okay, what is the right now? What should you be working on right now? In any of these things, you can absolutely be preparing better for 25 or 26, January 26, but 25 is not a lost situation.
Yeah.
Currently.
There's still time. Don't give up before you start.
Yeah. And then rolling into February, I think that you guys can start to look ahead for what February looks like. That's what we're currently doing, like mapping out our plan for February. A lot of loving on our clients, the love season of February, a lot of loving on our clients with pop buys, rolling into our spring events. All of that stuff is kind of brewing, where we're implementing our January things, brewing on the February, March. And you guys should be strategizing and working through the same type of thought process as well. And again, happy to jump on a one-on-one to even strategize with you guys. So many different things that you could be working through right now.
Okay. So we talked about farming, portfolio reviews, tax letters,
New Year's
cards, and the calendars. What else can we be doing in January to kind of kick off?
That's a lot.
That is a lot. I'm just thinking of like we just said, just freaking do something, right? We've given you some like pretty easy, cheap ideas.
I think we always like, so those are like specific to January, right?
Yeah.
But for us, we're constantly looking at open houses. We're constantly looking at circle prospecting our listings or other people's listings. There's things that are happening every single month based off of actions and reactions regardless. So those are, okay, what is only happening in January? A lot of what we just talked about, the last 20 minutes, it's January specific. But what is your strategy for open houses? Like, how are you systematically making sure that that's getting your attention in 2025? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And I think that can be so many different angles of that. But I do know a lot of our agents are like, I'm not just setting up. Like, this is more than a 3-hour commitment for me. This is more than a plethora of signs and online marketing. This is now becoming a strategy for me to be door knocking the neighborhood around there, but with a plan that leads up to that. So I think there's so many things that you can just check the box and be like, oh, I've done 62 open houses and I've sold one house. That's not a great return on my time. But did you actually exploit that action to its fullest? Have you done every single thing? Because just showing up, it's almost like you have unlocked the pinky toe of the potential of what you're doing on that. And so I think that's a lot for January, but what are you doing consistently rolling into every single month of this year?
Yeah.
And open houses, I think, could be a huge, huge thing. For that.
Well, and I think too, like our team does open houses every week, I feel like. And they are really picking up. Like there's buyers. And even like just putting in the minimal amount of effort, we're still getting people into the door.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that too, if you're a newer agent, like honestly, even just for the training of conversations, yes, obviously everything we want to do, we want it to be measurable, actionable, and actually results driven. But where are you getting training to sit and have scripts besides with your husband and your wife and the dog and the kids? Like, where are you actually having real world training? Open houses, hands down. Hands down, did I fail forward in my career with open houses?
Yeah,
for sure. So other things that we talked about, circle prospecting, so many different pieces to that puzzle. I mean,
we just need a whole episode on that.
A whole episode on that. Yeah, for sure. But honestly, in a rotational basis, there, if you go back pretty much the fourth quarter of our episodes was talking about preparing for the now,
Yeah.
implementing the now. And there's so many things that it's just not too late to set yourself up for success.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that we've given some really good actionable items. Pick one or two things and just implement.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right, 2025, this is going to be our year, and we're giving you some really actionable items to implement into your business starting right now, January 2025. It's not too late and it's not too early to start. I'm excited to get the tax letters out.
Yeah. For me, my biggest takeaway and one of my things I'm happy and excited about changing, because I feel like we crush January pretty much year after year. Yeah, we can be a little bit better, a little bit more intentional, but I'm excited about doing the tax letter videos.
Yes.
I feel like getting ahead of that, because I feel like you get this stuff out and you implement it, but there's so many times that you get so busy. Like in December, I'm like, did I even really follow up with all of that Christmas marketing that I did? Like, I don't know that I had those conversations.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to at least get ahead and start working on those tax letters. Like, I'm preparing this now. So that way, if I don't circle back around, I've at least had that first conversation. And I love the video idea because it's not cringy. Like,
No.
this is like it's an easier way for you to just be like showing the action that's happening.
Yeah.
So easily.
And it's another touch.
Yes, for sure.
No, I love doing that. I'm going to start doing more video, just everything that I send out, like the pop buys. And it's one video you can make and just reuse. Hey, I just put the stamp on your tax letter. Be on the lookout.
Yep.
You don't have to say, hello, John Smith at 123 Main Street. Here is your tax letter that I personally just put a stamp on. You know what I mean? Like, just reuse the same video or make a couple and send out a variation.
Yeah.
So, I love that.
So easy for that. And I also think that, like, cool, we talk about the January things, but I think that if you're doing things consistently, you need to make sure that you're not being a zombie through those actions.
Yeah.
So we have several minimal activities that are required to be part of the team that we're running. And it's like, yeah, cool, you can press the button and just have fulfill the button. But it's like, if you're doing those things, how can you be doing them at your max potential? Like, make sure you're not just close-eyed, zombie arms out and walking through 25, because seriously, there's so much potential for you guys to achieve your goals and beyond in this coming year.
Yeah, totally agree. Make 2025 your best year yet.
Duh.
Seriously.
Duh.
All right. If you found this helpful, make sure you share it with a friend. Give it a 5-star review. You can find us everywhere on social media at Real Estateable, and we will see you next time.